Welcome, minion. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all tonight? First time I'll hear a live ramble. This will be glorious. It probably won't. It's probably just going to be me just chatting about whatever people poke me about. Glorious is not something that would be said about my rambles. It's just fair warning. Fair warning on that. Another fair warning, those of you following me on Sunday streams, I'll be missing this Sunday as well. It's another Grand Prix. Mexico this time. Nobody asked him about Sweden. Oh God, what have Sweden done this time? Oh! I forgot. Yes, I got a nudge from Nibbenin. Hello to everyone on Twitch. Yeah, Nibbenin, I saw you resubbing and making comments. I can actually see, believe it or not, I can actually see the chat there, even when I'm not live. Welcome, minion. Anydan, thank you for the resub. Nibbenin, again, thank you for that resub. Well, somebody said, don't get him talking about Sweden. Made it sound like Sweden have done something to mortally offend me. And I'm like, what have they done? Minion. I'm not the one that said it. Ask whoever said it. So, what are we talking about tonight? Ooh, I did see there was a whole heap of like hype going on because Bethesda had a Fallout day planned, right? I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say it was something about Fallout 76. Didn't miss anything, did I? I think I'd know by now if I'd missed anything. I saw a fair number of people like, what could it be? You know, like YouTubers posting things like, well, you know, there was that Fallout 3 remake announced 2020, and I'm like, it's gotta be Fallout 76. What are you talking about? It was Fallout 76. There you go. I swear I have seen at least 50 or 60 times since Fallout 4 people predicting Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas 2, Fallout 5, something. Just. I mean, it was kind of like this. Was that Nibbenin? Thank you for the hype train with that cheer. If you remember, just prior to Fallout 4 coming out, it was like that. But the year before Fallout 4 came out, wow, there was all sorts of weird hoaxes. there was this countdown hoax. But I feel like now, I mean, back then, I think we had quality reasons to get a bit hyped. Blue Cloud! Thank you for a resub. Tier 2. Thank you very much. But because like there were loads of rumors going around. Some of them turned out to be true. Which is amazing. The one about it not... I think it was the one about not having a voiced... No, having a voiced protagonist or something was one of the rumors, and it turned out to be true, and there were some other things. But the one that sticks in my mind is there was this weird countdown going on, and everyone thought it was for an announcement, and everyone was so hyped about it. Bethesda actually ended up breaking their silence on this issue and said, look, guys, we normally don't comment about this, but that's not us. Because they knew that if they'd let it run out to the countdown and it was just nothing to do with them and they'd not said anything, the internet would have absolutely ripped them apart. But since then, it's basically been... Every time there is... like something announced, it's always been something very minor, or usually Fallout 76. I mean, I remember that big one where they announced Fallout 76. That was a big one. They really they trolled us big time with that, but I don't think they meant to. This is why I consider that to be one of the great PR blunders of all time, was the Fallout 76 announcement. Because they basically started teasing a countdown on Twitch, and the internet just lost its mind, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's New Vegas 2. It's definitely New Vegas 2. Oh no, it's Fallout 3 remastered. It's something, Fallout 5. I mean, it was the big one. The big one was no, it's Fallout New Vegas 2. It's going to be. It's that people were absolutely just hyping themselves into a fever. And it was understandable as well, because, I mean, it had been, was it 2 years since Fallout 4 had come out? We were all shocked by it, but we were like, what could it be? What could it be? And it was Fallout 76. And a lot of us didn't even realize what we were seeing. And we were like, what is this? And because some people had predicted it was going to be a sort of Rust type game, and they turned out to be correct. But even once they did the announcement, we didn't know. And I'm thinking they learned a lesson to some degree from that. But I still think they don't understand. Every time they announce a Fallout day, everyone's like, it's Fallout 3! Fallout New Vegas! I mean, granted, Bethesda don't seem to be learning from this, but neither do certain people in the gaming community. It's a golden kappa train. What the hell is a golden kappa train on Twitch? Have I missed something? You want a Bethesda comeback. Not that I dislike Starfield that much, but I think they got more in them still. I don't know whether they're going to make a comeback in the way I think you and most people mean. I don't think they're going to win over the hearts and minds of the greater gaming community ever. But I think if the gaming community was where it's at now, Skyrim would have bombed. Well, not bombed. Skyrim would have been ripped apart. I'm not saying they can't release a hit game. Elder Scrolls 6 could be a massive hit, with, shall we say, 90% of the people looking for it. But I don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever. I think there will be a huge amount of screaming about it. There's going to be negativity leading up to it. There will be negativity afterwards. It's done. to my mind, there is no way they can win over the greater gaming community now. They could get enough that they'll make a massive profit, and keep going for decades more. But they'll never get back to those days where, generally speaking, it was like 99% positive and 1% negative. Because that 1% negative has always been there. I don't think it's ever going to get back there. Elder Scrolls will be a massive hit. I mean, honestly, I think it probably will.
Welcome, minion.
I mean, I sometimes poke fun at Bethesda for not learning certain lessons on certain things, but they do actually seem to learn quite a lot of lessons. Starfield proved that to me. Now, some people will point it and say, yeah, but they also made a whole bunch of new mistakes. Well, I'm hoping for Elder Scrolls 6 they learn those lessons. Bethesda seem to do better when they stick to what they're good at. The problem is, I'm not completely convinced they could make the sort of game they're really good at now, and everyone would just go, oh, they're back on form. I think a lot of people would say, okay, but this is just like Skyrim or something, and then critique them for not doing anything new. I actually think Bethesda are in a no-win situation. I actually think they should stick with what they know and do what they do well. And for me, that would be a Skyrim experience, that type of thing. But there will be people who say, no, they need to do something new. Every time they've tried something new, it's been a bit of a catastrophe.
Minion.
Do I think the current level of criticism towards Bethesda Game Studios is warranted? No. I mean, the thing is, that answer doesn't really tell you much, because the amount of negativity being thrown at them is completely out of proportion with, say, Starfield. To me, I would have understood far more a wave of meh. If that's what Starfield had got, if Starfield had got, it was okay, and then I got bored. I'd be like, yeah, no, I get you, yeah. But for a lot of people, Starfield was an offense. It hurt them to the core of their being, and you know, it almost feels like a crime was committed, kind of thing. So no, I don't. I think, but I'd say this was true of most outrages I see on the internet. They're usually completely out of whack with what actually went on. So, I think part of the hate for Bethesda is people remembering the older games but with mods and not how they were on release. Maybe. There's definitely a lot of nostalgia goggles going on. But I don't even think it's that. I think, like, for example, I think there's a lot of people will have discovered Bethesda, say, for Oblivion, or maybe it was Skyrim, and they loved the experience. And they want Bethesda to capture that wonder that they felt when playing whichever game it was that captured their experience. And I totally get that, because I want them to recapture the Skyrim feeling. Although it was, I mean, Morrowind was the one that cemented me as a fan. I've been following them since Daggerfall, but Skyrim to me still hit that absolute sweet spot, and I want them to recapture that magic. And can they do that? I think they can, but I think an awful lot of fans will have discovered them when they were quite young, and now they're a bit older and they've tried other games. But so what they want now is Bethesda to make an Elder Scrolls 6 that captures the magic that they felt. But to capture that magic, it's going to need lots of bells and whistles that they're used to in, shall we say, 10 other games that they've played. And there'll be things that I don't think Bethesda are very good at. So I'm not I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a bomb. I'm just not thinking. I don't think it's going to be the critical. Well, critical success is the wrong word now. I don't think it's going to be the community success that people want it to be. I just don't. Don't make a sandbox game. Just make a Bethesda sandbox and charge game price. Modders can do the rest. That's the model. Yeah, but that's a failed model. That will not work. That will not work at all. Modders did not need to fix Skyrim. They didn't. Sure, modders made Skyrim a huge amount better, but they didn't need to fix it. Skyrim was pretty good all by itself. Same is true of Oblivion. Same is true of Morrowind, Daggerfall. Fallout 4, I don't think it needed fixing either. Again, even though it's one of my least favorite Bethesda Game Studios games, it didn't need fixing. Modders did make it better, that is for sure. But I will say Fallout 4 and Starfield to some degree are two games where I don't have the same urge to go back that I did with their previous games. So something has been lost since Skyrim. Something in both Fallout 4 and Starfield has been lost. But it's not something I think modders could fix either. I just don't think this. I don't think it's something that mod makers can fix, because they've still not fixed Fallout 4's core problem for me, and obviously it hasn't been long enough for Starfield to get fixed. So the original Skyrim was broken. Not really. It depends what you mean. Did it have bugs and glitches? Yeah, but this is the game. People fell in love with the game regardless. It didn't need mods to be great. Trust me on this. I was there for this. Skyrim was like beloved from the moment go. Yeah, there were no, I mean I'm also downplaying the negativity that certain people had, but they had it before Skyrim was released. They were already on the negative train before Skyrim was released because it wasn't Morrowind. And they were never going to be happy anyway. Fallout 4 is broken now. Actually, Fallout 4 is, if you're into mods, Fallout 4 on PC is broken right now. Which is, I can't believe they've... But again, it depends what you mean by broken. Fallout 4, they broke the modding scene. So... But yeah, I mean, it's... I always say this. Skyrim was a game that had an extended lifetime because of modders. But even if we hadn't been there, even if the modding community hadn't been there and created all the mods it created, Skyrim was still going to be a success. I mean, it was a successful game. People loved it. Fallout 4's core problem? Basically, each time I run through Fallout 4, I do the exact same things, very often in the exact same order. I can do it with a slightly different character, but it never feels that different. And thus I've never really found an urge to go back and play again. Whereas Skyrim, I can sort of play it in so many different ways, different orders, just do different aspects of it, and just it feels great, like 20 and 30 times over. Fallout 4 just didn't have that. And a part of it was the way the main quest just utterly, completely dominated. Now, they learned the lesson in Starfield. Starfield is closer to a Skyrim experience in that regards. The problem with Starfield is it lacks the feeling of wanderlust. It doesn't evoke the feeling of wanderlust that Skyrim evoked in me. But it also doesn't evoke the urge to try a new character. In fact, quite the opposite. I find the idea of starting Starfield from scratch with a new character to be quite nauseating as an idea. So, Honestly, in that regards, I'd rather play Fallout 4 again, because at least you can go with a different character and do a different play style to a degree. Although I will tell you now, the first 20 levels of every character always end up being the same for me. Because in the end, you always need lockpick, hacking, armorer, science, probably gun nut. You know what I mean? Like, I just. BG3 has you planning a new character in Act 1. I can understand that, actually. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game I'm looking forward to trying a whole different run with a whole different character. So that's the thing. This is why, you know, Skyrim didn't need fixing. As the core gameplay loop of Skyrim was fine. It had some bugs, it had some issues, it had some glitches, but not really anything that bothered me. New characters in Starfield need to be high level so they can have the basic QOL skills. Yeah, Sonmax, that's pretty much it. There are some basic quality of life skills that I want that I don't want to do it. Maybe there's a mod that will come out that let you start with a level 20 character or something. So you just start a whole new character, but it's at level 20 and it just scales the game up. And you can, you know, maybe if you wanted to be the ship captain, you can have gone down the social skills to unlock the ability to actually have a crew bigger than 3. Something like that. Fantasy is just easier to give replayability than other genres. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't think it was the genre that made the difference with Fallout 4 and Skyrim. It's the structure of the quests. Skyrim, you guys know this. You can literally go in and say, I'm going to do a playthrough where I do thieves and companions. I'm going to do another playthrough where I do Mage College and Civil War and, I'll do the main quest this time for a laugh. You know, there are so many. You play Skyrim, you don't need to complete it with one character because it's almost fun to do other things with different characters. It's built for that kind of just go in and goof off and do something different each time. Fallout 4, the main quests a lot of the content is locked behind main quest openings. So you expect perk overhauls for Starfield when they come out. Right, I mean, I think that could solve one of the big problems I have with Starfield, a perk overhaul. But even then, Starfield doesn't give me the wanderlust. It just doesn't. I'm back in Skyrim with the Bard's College expansion, and God, do I just love wandering around sometimes. I just do. There's something about wandering around Skyrim that I feel great. So, but again, I think for me, for Elder Scrolls 6, they need to recreate the Skyrim magic. I say need. I hate it when people say that, so I'm not going to say that. What I'm looking for in the Elder Scrolls 6 is basically what I got in Skyrim. I mean, obviously, I want it to look a little nicer and perform a little better. I want it to, but then Starfield did that. I'm hoping they keep the dialogue changes they made. I like the dialogue system in Starfield. I love the fact that loads of skills actually give you special options in dialogue. I love all that. So I'd like it if they kept that. But beyond that, I don't want much to change. I mean, yeah, or it'd be nice if they add new mechanics, like being able to, say, vault over a wall or climb a ladder. Little things like that to modernize the experience. Modernize it by all means. But I want the core experience and the core game loop to be what it was in Skyrim. So, yeah. Would Starfield be interesting if they gave you a bunch of level 35 scenario characters? I mean, it's possible, but again, Starfield's problem wasn't just the character system. And the problem with the character system is it is completely and utterly balanced for NG+. It is. The problems are also the traveling. It's just not a fun game to travel around in. I'm sorry, it's not. Every now and again, you land on a planet and you think, wow, this is amazing. And 30 seconds later, you're over it. You're over it. Now, Skyrim, you could say it's the same. First time you see a bunch of mountains, you go, oh, that's amazing. And then you get over it. But it doesn't matter because you're wandering through the mountains and you're looking at, you're finding certain things. And just, there's something about it just keeps you going. I don't know what it is. It's probably the handcrafted nature, the fact that you can just discover things constantly. It's a pleasant place to go walking. So Fallout 4 tried to push a much more linear progression. Exactly. I mean, they really did tie it all up to the main quest. And a lot of games do that. And I said this at the time. I said Fallout 4 is a Bethesda Game Studios game that's trying not to be a Bethesda Game Studios game. It's trying to be a BioWare game or something like that. They you know, the whole voice protagonist, the very, you know, the main story being a bit more epic and emotional, all this sort of thing. I don't think they landed that. They did not land that at all. Witcher 3 was like that too. You find things in the ocean. Witcher 3 was a bit like that. Yeah, you could just wander and randomly go around. But again, Witcher 3 is not Skyrim. I mean, it's a better game. It's one of the greatest games ever made, Witcher 3. But Witcher 3 is a game that I've really only gone back and played twice. Well, once since my main playthrough. It's not the same as in Skyrim, where, you know, each of my playthroughs could be so radically different to the next. Will you do a test formula video for Starfield like you did Fallout 4? No, I don't think there's any need. I think I identified the test formula that worked for me and why Fallout 4 didn't. I don't think it takes a genius to figure out how it doesn't work. Starfield doesn't work for me on that regards as well. So, yeah. Bethesda games are comfort food, but lately they feel like they're trying to be fine dining. That's a terrible thing to say, but I also find myself nodding along with it. I know what you're trying to say. I mean, look, I love Skyrim, but I perfectly understand people who go, you know, I mean, the quest just, you know, even the best quest line in Skyrim, it's not even close to as good as, say, you know, the quest line in The Witcher 3 or even The Witcher 1. And I'm like, no, you're not wrong. I mean, there have been some great Bethesda quest lines. I think the United Colonies quest line in Starfield is great. Everyone always talks about the Dark Brotherhood. And I quite like a lot of the faction quest lines in Skyrim. I prefer the ones in Skyrim to Oblivion, actually. And, you know, so they do okay. They're good enough. But I get it. Then they're not like The Witcher. I don't find myself tearing up playing a BGS game. I don't. But I don't play a BGS game to tear up. For me, Skyrim is the sort of game where I just go in and I've got a lot of freedom to just enact my own little fantasy power, fantasy whatever, you know. I don't need to tear up. I don't need an emotional hook exactly. What I need is to feel like the world around me is there and it's real and that I can interact with it and do my thing in it. I like the fact that there are lots of stories for it to tell me. I want stories. So this idea that if Bethesda think they can just create a world and let modders fill it with quests, you got another thing coming. I need the world to have interesting things for me to find. Interesting books. You know me, I'll pick up a book and read it in Skyrim. Lots of little things like that do. I like that, but I don't necessarily need like a Mass Effect type storyline where I'm just, where it gets you right in the feels. I don't need that from Bethesda. I don't. It's like I don't need romance options from Bethesda. It's just I need different things from different games, and Bethesda are just so good at the Skyrim-y game. That's what they're good at. I want them to do that. If I want a deep emotional experience that rips my heart out and stomps all over it, I'll play a CD Projekt Red game. I'll play Cyberpunk. They're good at that. They are very good at that. But at the same time, you look at The Witcher 3, way better game than Skyrim by every metric that I could think of. And yet, The Witcher, I have played a few hundred hours. Skyrim, several thousand hours. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, how did we get onto this? Yeah, the Fallout Day announcement was a bit of a beer. Speaking of feel, you liked Sid's quest in Folon. So did I, actually. Not sure the people who are good are still in the BGS building. I don't believe that. I think it's not that they've lost key people. I feel like BGS might have lost a little bit of... Well, I do wonder if they ever understood why we wanted to keep playing Skyrim forever. They seem to know we do want to keep playing Skyrim forever, but several things they've done over the years do make me question, do you know why? Do you really know why? And I asked that about a lot of things, like when they decided to put, mod support on Bethesda Net, and it didn't even have a way to manipulate your load order. I felt like saying, I know you appreciate the modding community, but do you really understand it? Do you know what we do? Do you know? The people in your building, do they play modded Skyrim? Because it feels like you didn't. You didn't know you needed this. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like they may have discovered this formula not by design, but by accident, and they've never really understood what it was about it that worked. Not really. And it's not that they're stupid. I don't think they've ever quite looked at Skyrim the way some of their fans do. And I think that might be a bit of a disconnect. At least that's how it feels when I look at Fallout 4 or Starfield. They feel like, you're looking at your games differently. They made NG Plus in Starfield so we could play forever. Yeah, that's, you may be onto something there. I quite like the NG Plus in Starfield, but again, because of the way they balance the game for it, it feels like starting again with the new characters is a right royal bloody chore. And honestly, I don't think they needed an NG Plus to make us play their games forever. They didn't need to add that. They didn't. It was cool the way they did it. Don't get me wrong, I quite like it. Although it's one of those features I feel like is a little half-baked at times. I could probably do a whole video on that. What if the fans are fickle and they need to be told what they want to like? You can't do that. You can't tell people what they want to like. You can't. The problem, and I do believe this is a massive problem, especially for big companies like Bethesda, who are in the limelight, their fans don't often tell them what they like. They tell them what they don't like. The entire point of my Elder Scrolls Formula series, which is a 10-part video series, if you've not seen it, you can search for it on my channel. It's quite long. But it's where I identify what it is about each of their games that worked for me. What was good about it. And I made it because I felt like they'd lost their way with Fallout 4 because they've been listening to the people who said, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like this. And so what they'd done is they tried to address that, but in doing so, they lost some of the things that people liked, probably because they didn't know they liked them. The silent protagonist. Think about that. They changed it to a voice protagonist, and a huge portion of their fan base went, "What? No!" Because one of the great things about Skyrim and Fallout 3 was it was a silent protagonist. But did anyone ever tell them that? Did anyone ever tell them that? No. And there were people honestly confused at the backlash. There were people going, "I don't understand it. It's 2015. There should be a voice protagonist." As though a voice protagonist was a technical achievement rather than a design choice, and that one that a lot of people just didn't want. But, little things that make their games, were they told it? Did people make a song and dance about what they liked about Bethesda games, or just a song and dance about what they disliked? And I think that sometimes is the problem. Just, People didn't like how grey Fallout 3 was, and people now miss that part of the aesthetic. Can't win with them all. Actually, it was how green it was. You'll find that a lot of people quite liked the grey. For example, Fallout London is kind of grey. It feels very much like Fallout 3 to me, but not green. Fallout 3 was green. Right? Fallout 3 was green. Fallout New Vegas was orange. But what I liked about those games is they had a sort of... Yeah, grey is a way of describing it without it being grey. Fallout 4, I think, was too vibrant for a lot of people. So I think the aesthetic was better in Fallout 3 than in Fallout 4, but that green filter was nauseating. So that was, that was one of the first things to get modded away for a lot of people, that green filter. It's one of these weird things. When people think of Fallout 3 with nostalgia, they remember the green filter and think, "Oh, that's so Fallout 3." And then they play it for 10 minutes and they think, "God, I want to get rid of this bloody green filter. God, it's awful." You get nostalgia about it, and then you realize it's a bloody green horrible, yeah. So, yeah, we should start Baldur's Gate then. So, yeah. People are focused very much on what they don't like. And so I think sometimes a company like Bethesda could almost be forgiven for not really getting why the players love their games. Until, well, they figure it out once they take that away from the game. You take it away from the game, and then they added a voice protagonist. And I am betting you any money in the boardroom, they were like, "We got a voice protagonist this time. Oh, people are going to love this. We've actually got a voice, and we got like a dialogue wheel like Mass Effect. And we got like sort of, oh, people are going to adore this." And then it got announced, and it was like, what? Like people back at Bethesda scrambling in a room going, "I'm sorry, what just happened?" Oh dear. I like New Vegas with orange. It makes sense. No, it doesn't. Not like the green in the DC area. The green didn't make sense either. Orange made no more sense than green did. It was slightly less nauseating, but once again, something to get rid of that horrible filter was like pretty much one of the first mods I ever downloaded. The orange looked better. Mildly. It looked a little better. Orange just works, it's a little warmer and less sickly. And I think it's that's just a feature of us being who we are. But it doesn't look realistic. I've seen images of the Mojave Desert, and it didn't look like it had an orange filter. I mean, that's the thing with games. They just put these filters on. I mean, they put the green filter on to make you think radiation and sickness. I am one of the rare few who like the voice protagonist. You're not that rare, Wolfhound. There's quite a lot of people liked it. But what you had was a gaming community that, for the most part, was keyed for the silent protagonist and the advantages that brings. And once you remove that, that's when people realized, no, I liked being able to imagine my own voice. I liked being able to change the voice between my different characters. I don't want to sound like that. You know what I mean? There was a whole heap of people who didn't even know that they loved this until it was ripped away from them and they freaked out. So, like I said, sometimes it's hard to know what the hell people want. Anyway, I'm based around Mad Max. Well, Fallout took quite a lot of inspiration from movies like that, yeah. You live in Arizona and there's honestly more colors than people realize. Yeah, I think people have got an odd idea of what deserts look like. I mean, I've, obviously I live in the winter wonderland here. But I've seen images of deserts and I know one of the really famous weather mods for Fallout New Vegas was actually made by somebody who came from roughly around there. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here because it's 9:15. I've already gone 15 minutes late. So I'm going to be streaming a bit of Baldur's Gate for any of you who care to join me. So I will see you in about 5 minutes. Yeah? All right. Speak to you soon.